Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sisterhood. I'm Janine.
I'm Kira.
And we are the City Moms of Indianapolis. We are so thrilled that you're here joining us this morning.
Yeah, I'm really excited about today's summit and all of the speakers that we have coming to join us.
Yeah, definitely. How was your morning this morning? You sounded like you were a little crazy.
Chaotic, yeah. I mean, work from home life, but yeah, my daughter's 3, and so everything is independence right now, and but also ticking clock.
Totally, I know. And this, my brakes went out in my car last night, and I'm just like, I don't have time to deal with this. So I feel like this summit's coming at the perfect time.
Yes.
It's like motherhood's crazy, life is crazy. I feel insanely burnt out.
Yes, I do too. Yeah, for sure. Spring break wasn't enough to like rejuvenate me.
Definitely not. But thankfully, Sarah DoorDashed us some coffee this morning.
So. Mine's over on the table.
Yeah. Well, we are super excited to kick off Sisterhood with you. This is our second Sisterhood, yes. Our second annual Sisterhood The Summit. This is a morning summit that is designed really just to rejuvenate you, kind of kickstart you for the next, few months / hopefully not a full year. But, I mean, with an annual event, yeah, like really give you some tools that are super key for just not only surviving the next 12 months, but feeling as though you are filled, your cup is filled, and that you are, I guess, like
giving us some tools, hopefully, for some success with avoiding burnout as early on, maybe.
Yeah.
So
we have an incredible lineup of all female. I think that's like one of my favorite pieces about the summit. All female speakers that are coming today. Blessing is going to open for us today. If you ladies don't already know, and friends, if you don't already know Blessing, she is the founder of Mother Honestly, probably like one of my Bibles of motherhood right now.
I'm so excited. I have attended Mother Honestly's summits that they had, and they are awesome, and I love everything that she has to say. And as a working mom myself, I just fully vibe with her.
Oh my gosh. So Blessing has been really elevated throughout the pandemic as kind of being the voice of the pandemic mom, just understanding like what so many of us are feeling in terms of burnout, where we are hitting with kind of just our, I don't even know our moment in the workplace and kind of with career mom, because so many of us have been impacted from that perspective, and just childcare has been a beast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's so many things, and Blessing is going to bless us with an incredible chat this morning. Before we get started, a few things that we just want to let you know. One, we know your time is valuable and sometimes fleeting. So if you're here to join us for 5 minutes, if you're going to be here for the whole 2 hours, wherever you are this morning, we're so glad that you're here. And it doesn't matter to us. We're just glad that you have an opportunity to join us for a bit. I see Blessing's joining us. Hey, Ty, Blessing will be right there. And, the other piece that we just want to get through is that, we have that workbook that just came out to you via email. So grab that, maybe bookmark it, print it, whatever you'd like. That's going to be your guide this morning to all of our amazing speakers. So, the other things we want to do is let you know that we are coming to you live from Maven Space. And this is the brand new co-working social hub in downtown Indianapolis. Oh my gosh, we have to show them the view really quick.
We have a beautiful city, and we just have to show everybody. And it's a beautiful day. It's like a perfect spring day.
Like, how incredible is that? So, we're here in downtown Indianapolis. Later into the summit, we'll be giving you a really quick sneak peek of the space here at Maven Space. They officially opened in May, like just a couple of weeks.
I can't wait to come here and like spend a couple of days a week, maybe working. I'm still remote, so it's nice to just get out of my house and look at the beautiful views. Maybe DoorDash myself some food that I don't get to have.
Well, and we also have to give a shout quickly to our title sponsor, FreedomDoc. FreedomDoc is a membership healthcare community for all patients and all health plans. We will be sharing some more information about them throughout the summit, but when you get a chance, definitely peek over at their socials, give them a follow. I think that they're going to revolutionize a lot of what we are doing as moms and healthcare for the family.
Yes.
So without further ado, because Blessing is here and we love her, we're so excited to introduce you to her. Let's grab Blessing. And oh, I guess the other thing I was going to say, super casual this morning. So you're going to probably see us in between each of these speakers sipping some coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe we have our shoes off. This is exactly what we want you to see. So hang on, let me grab Blessing for everyone. Here she comes. I see her coming in. I'm so excited.
Come on. Yes.
Yay. We cannot.
Can you see me okay?
There we go. Yes, we can see you.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you, definitely.
Is it loud enough?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I want to make sure we get audio here going. How's everyone doing? Hi, Lativa. I see so many people joining. Thank you for joining us this morning.
So glad that you're here. Well, Blessing, we're going to get off this split screen and let you do your thing. And we will be right here in the background if you need anything.
All right. How many minutes do I have? When do I need to wrap up? That helps.
We've got until 9:35.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Good morning, wherever you're joining us from, whether that is United States, other parts of the world. I wish I was in India. I mean, that just looks so beautiful. And thank you so much, Janine, for all the amazing work that you do at the CityMoms. I am such a fan. And I think, you know, one of the things that I love the most when it comes to motherhood is the fact that community is so key. And I see that all over, you know, whether it's social media or even within our communities, how women are coming together to support each other and just be there for each other. And it's so, so important, especially in the pandemic, when we were all, you know, sort of behind closed doors and we didn't have that support system. And you can see what happens when the support system is missing, when the village is missing. It tends to affect us mentally, physically, and emotionally. So thank you, the CityMoms, for putting this wonderful summit together. So today I want to talk to you all about flourishing. It's something that is near and dear to my heart, especially as a mother of four. So I have 4 kids. Tayo is 13. They come in 4, and Darren is 2.5, and I have a 7-month-old. So I am like in the thick of things. And it's so funny because a lot of people ask me, oh my word, how are you doing this? Building a tech and media company, as well as raising 4 kids. And I know a lot of you are in the thick of everything too. You are cooking, cleaning, running errands, raising kids, may or may not have a career going right now. You may be pursuing your career, or you have a business, or you are a working professional. And so how do you actually flourish? How do you flourish at home and in the workplace? And I love to start with data. I'm a chemical engineer. So data is something that is in my way of life. 93% of moms are feeling burned out. And that is a huge number because we're not getting enough sleep, because we are the primary caregiver for our kids, and because we're also the one doing all of the chores. Maybe not all, but 6% of mothers report spending 5 hours a day on childcare duties, household management. They are the one, you know, grabbing groceries and cleaning and, you know, making sure that, you know, the mustard is replaced, right? And if they cut cable, they're the ones that, right? Like, oh my word, you know, whether it's Comcast or Xfinity is down today. And so mom is the one trying to figure out, is there any way for me to make sure that the kids are occupied in a way that makes sense? So you can already see there where a lot of the reasons why women are not flourishing is because we are doing too much. I like to start with the definition of flourishing, right? What is really the definition of flourishing? Flourishing means that you are living your life with vigor and vitality. It means that you are bringing your full self to work, to your family, to your home. And when you're not sleeping, when we are burned out, when we're stressed and disengaged, it means that we're not flourishing. And, you know, when I share this, I like to remind a lot of people, you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing you're doing wrong. You're doing everything you're supposed to do as a mother. I think we need to get that out of the way. But one thing is missing, right? We're missing a lot of support from our society. The society is not doing a good job of understanding and supporting mothers. The workplace is not doing a good job of understanding what women and families truly need, because they forget that if we don't have a successful home, we can't exactly have a successful career. And a lot of our partners, God bless their hearts, some of them are not helping as much they should. And I'm using the word helping here in quotes, because that's what we all say is, whoa, my partner helped a little bit last night by, putting the kids to bed. And one of the things that I always say is, we need to start from the grassroots, right? We need to start from the early stages. What is it about our workplace that is not providing with their full parental leave, so that they are bonding with our kids at the very beginning, right? So they are sort of in tune with what is required to run the household, what is required to support, their families. And so these are the issues. These are the reasons why women like you and I feel burnt out, feel unsupported. 34% of mothers report feeling frustrated about combining work and family because it's so hard. And I actually, when I was in corporate America, and I have 15 years of experience in corporate America, my background is in chemical engineering. And I remember when I was in corporate America, how hard and how tough it was, waking up early to make sure that the morning grind is done, right? What is the morning grind? You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're packing lunch boxes, you are, grabbing something for breakfast. The kids need to eat and they need to brush their teeth and change into their clothes. You have to grab the baby into the car seat. There's a lot of things, repetitive demands that is required of you on the home front. So I was doing this every morning and then commuting to work. And then when I get to work, I'm already exhausted because I already just completed a day worth of work. And then I walk again for the next hours uninterrupted. And then I go home and it's another shift. So it's actually 3 shifts, right? If we really, actually count, kind of what women are doing. And so if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling exhausted and stressed, I want you to know that it's not by your doing. You're doing everything that you need to do. And so how do we move you from this space of languishing? I call it languishing, right? Because you are not exactly depressed, right? Maybe not, but we don't, we're not psychologists, we're not doctors, so we can't exactly, diagnose you with a condition. But you're sort of in this state where you may feel like, whoa, I'm not thriving, I'm not flourishing. I'm being pulled in multiple directions. I spoke with a mom yesterday and she said, I just don't have the time to work. And I really want to work, but in between the baby crying and the toddler that needs something and, the partner that forgot, to order, the pizza that we're told to order. Now I have to stop everything that I'm doing to go ahead and do that. I am feeling stressed. I am feeling burned out. So one of the things that one of the challenges I think of modern motherhood today is just that we're all doing too much. I don't know. Please, one of the things I also want to, make sure that we're all doing, please in the chat, tell me how many kids you have. Tell me what challenges you're facing at home, challenges that you're facing at work, because that will also help. I want this to be very interactive. I don't want to just speak to a void, because I also want to just touch on some of the things that you in particular are going through or are feeling, and how do we actually start going from that space of languishing to flourishing, whether it's at home or in the workplace. So if you just want to drop that in the chat, that would be really amazing. I would really appreciate that. Tell me how many kids you have if you're joining from Minneapolis or Indianapolis, or I am actually right now out of the country. So I'm joining from outside of the United States. So back to flourishing. How do we flourish? How do we go from languishing to flourishing? And how do we ensure that we are in a place where we are bringing our whole self and our full self to the table, and that we as mothers have everything that we need, right, to take care of ourselves, to be ourselves. I remember when, with Mother Honestly, when we first started, I had my second child Hi, Stacy. Thanks for joining. 2 kids, Charlotte, North Carolina. I struggle with not saying yes to everything and then being overwhelmed. Absolutely. It's the same thing. I used to be a people pleaser. Guys, it was so bad. I would say yes to everything. Yes, you want to collaborate with Mother Honestly? Yes. And oh, by the way, I was still working full time, in corporate America. And so I was saying yes to a lot of things and I burned out. I burned out very badly, to a point where I thought about not doing anything for the next, I literally wrote it down, do nothing for 3 years. Of course, it didn't take that long to recover, but just to show you that sometimes when we say yes to a lot of things, we are opening ourselves up, for this what I call this languishing, right? We kind of create this path to a place where our mental health takes a nosedive because we're saying yes to so much. Thank you, Tiffany, for joining. A 3-year-old next to me eating breakfast. I love it. I love it. Indianapolis. Looks like we have a lot of Indianapolis mamas here, 3 kids. So I'm excited about that. Hi, Blessing, 2 kids in Hawaii. Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining. And so for me, what is next, right? What is next for mothers right now? Because we live in a society that expects so much of us. We live in a society that doesn't exactly support us. And, we are taking care of our kids. We're taking care of our partners. We have challenges at work, whether it's this inability to, to sort of to get that paid leave or that flexible work that we need and that mental and physical support that we need. There's a lot of challenges that have presented themselves before the pandemic and is now evident or worse during and after the pandemic. And so how do we as mothers protect our well-being? I think that's the biggest thing for me, because if I want to go from languishing to flourishing, how do I protect myself? How do I identify this burnout? And then what are the strategies that I need to support my mental health? So I want to share with you all some of the things that happened to me, because a lot of what women are feeling, it's the same things, right? It's not like you're not unique. You're not imagining your burnout. It's happening to everyone. I'm burning out, you're stressed, you're exhausted. But how do we identify these things? How do we know that we're languishing? Mental and physical exhaustion. You're neglecting your personal needs or your personal care, right? When you stop taking care of yourself, you're withdrawing from a lot of things that bring you joy before. And now they just don't bring you as much joy. That could be a partner, that could be your kids, that could be, your job. You're withdrawing from those things because you're burned out, because you're tired, because you're exhausted. Maybe there's some behavioral changes. Maybe you feel empty. Maybe you feel, maybe you're curtailing, at work, right? I remember when I started feeling burned out, I started reducing the number of things I was doing at work. And I felt depressed. I lacked focus. I had trouble sleeping. I felt like I was drowning. And I had a short temper, y'all. I was just flaring at everything. My husband says this, I'm like, no. You need to just, keep it together, because I'm not having this conversation. So I was very snappy, very short-tempered. And I even started pushing myself to work harder on a lot of things. So even though I was lacking that focus, I just kept, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do that. I also was spending a lot of times on things that I shouldn't be spending time on, right? Like social media. I love social media. I built Mother Honestly on social media, but one of the biggest things was, just spending hours on TikTok and Instagram and just scrolling, from morning till evening. And that was because I was burning out and I didn't know these things. I used to think that, burnout, when I start burning out, I would know that I could feel and see these things. But at the time, I couldn't tell that these were signs of burnout. So if you want to just share in the comment, what are some of the symptoms of burnout you are feeling, whether it's at this time or maybe in the past, in the near past, right? Whether it's a couple of weeks ago, are there any signs of burnout that you're feeling? And if so, if you can you share that? I see Brittany from Indianapolis. I have a 3-year-old and tween 1-year-olds. Oh my word, girlfriend, hats off to you. For me, I am doing well with my career, but seem to put my marriage on the back burner. that one is a tough one for everyone. I have 4 kids, so I feel like it's all about the kids, right? It's all about making time for them, breakfast, lunch, dinner, play dates, arranging all of that, and then no time, right, for my partner. One of the things that I did was really to put things on the calendar. My husband and I, he's an engineer and I am an engineer, so we're very number focused, data driven, and so we said, okay, what is it going to take, right, to put ourselves on the calendar, put ourselves on the to-do list. So we started putting, every 2 weeks we had date nights. And thank God, things have reopened a little bit lately. So I think that's something that, could be a potential opportunity for you to put yourself on the calendar, put yourself on the to-do list. I shared something in a Fast Company article, and it was about putting your family second. Oh my God. When I shared that, when I typed that, I thought, everyone would come for me. And that was because I had to put myself first on the to-do list. And so what will make me happy, right? The things that will make me happy is spending time with my partner, spending time with, with my career. Yes, I love my kids, but I also need to make time for myself. Whether that is getting my hair done, getting my nails done, relaxing a little bit. I know self-care, as good, self-care is sort of another buzzword, right, lately. But one of the things that I have seen is really there's no substitute. There's no substitute for taking care of yourself. If you don't put yourself first, if your mental, physical, and emotional well-being is not first on that list, nothing else will get your full attention. They will get a half-baked, half, half well-being blessing, right? It's basically they get half of me because I'm not putting myself first. So I would strongly suggest that for you, Brittany, put it on the calendar. If it's important to you, put yourself on the calendar and say, hey, I'm gonna get, at least every other weekend, spend 2-3 hours, whether that is finding a babysitter or a family member that lives in Indiana. Chat them up, see if they can give you 2 to 3 hours of their time. I know it's so hard with tweens to do that. A lot of people with 3-year-olds. Alexandrina, thank you for joining. 2 kids, professional, medical, personal, educational scheduling. I feel your girlfriend. Elizabeth, 5-year-old and 3-year-old, signing in from vacation in Florida. Thank you for joining us. So important to make time for things that fill our cup. Those are some of the ways that I got myself out of burnout. I started seeking other women. We really and do thrive in community with each other. That is something that I make time for. My friends know me. I am the brunch girlfriend. I will take you out to brunch. I will chat over pancakes and waffles because that fills my cup. That relationship, that conversation with an adult, right? Not with toddlers and babies in my house. That really does fill my cup because I want to know what's going on with them personally and professionally. And that helps me to, whoa, if they're doing all of these things, can I try this out or try that out? Believe it. Women, we thrive in community. And that is something that I have prioritized as a mother. It's hard to be excited about things when I'm burned out. I agree. And that's one of the reasons why we need to take our time to do that work. Recognizing the symptoms of burnout, recognizing that we are not alone, that we're not burning out because we did anything wrong. We are burned out because we're not being supported. And so what does support look like? How can I access that support? Could it be that I, chat with my manager about, working remotely for a few hours during the week? Could it be that I connect with a neighbor who has a child of similar ages with my child, and we can come up with a caregiving schedule? I have a child care plan, and that child care plan involves my parents, my families. It involves my nanny, babysitters, neighbors, people that can actually help and support me. A lot of time, and this has nothing to do with I want to say maybe it's cultural as well, right? Where we don't want to accept or we don't want to ask for help because we feel or believe that other people also need help, right? So I encourage women a lot of time to ask for help, ask for support within your community, and see if you can swap things around with friends. Burnout for me is anxiety attacks and zoning out, escapism. I feel you, Tiffany. I truly believe that as women, at some point in our lives, we're going to experience this anxiety around, whether it's our kids, whether it's financially. There's a lot of anxiety around so many different things. And I tell people there's no escaping it. We need to face it. We need to face it. We need to understand that there's a reason why you're feeling this way. And so how can we get out of that? So whether that is, again, maybe even getting therapy. I have been there. I tell people, please, if you feel like you need therapy and you can afford it, go for it, because it's so important that you feel whole. If you don't feel whole, there's no way you're going to flourish. And it's only when you flourish that your children, your work, everything gets the best of you. Everything. When I'm burning out, I don't feel motivated to do my routines that take care of my mental and physical health. I also notice that I'm not looking forward to anything when it starts to hit. Same thing. The mama has to come first. If you don't come first, if you don't put yourself first, everything else may end up falling out of line. I see Kira. Kira has been working from home full time since March 2020. Daughter is 18 months and now she's 3.5. She's home with me most of the time. Thanks for joining us. Wow, so many amazing moms within the community today. Thank you for joining us. Jackie here in Sheridan, Indianapolis, 5-year-old and 3-year-old, and you're 2 years and you've never met coworkers in person. And these are the challenges that we're facing as women. It's a different kind of world out there. This post-pandemic future of work, we need to prepare ourselves for it. We need to, think about what are the things that are non-negotiable for me, and communicating those boundaries at work and at home. Communicating that boundary with your partner. How can you support me? My husband and I, we have, just daily touch bases, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes after the kids are in bed, to say, hey, what went well? What can we do better tomorrow? Who is doing what and when and how? So that we are all in the same cadence. We are achieving what is essential for our family together. It's the same thing with the workplace, having these conversations with our employers and saying, this is what it's going to take. Let me give you a secret, y'all. One of the biggest things happening right now is that employers don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose anyone. You are valuable to the workplace, and you need to channel that power and demand for a better quality of life. Whether that is, whoa, I can only work X amount of hours per day, and I'm going to take a break here, and I will have that project ready within a week or 2 weeks. Demanding that and saying, I want to be there. I want to be present for my family. I want to be present for my kids. I want to take my kids to the soccer game. I don't want anybody else to do that. So demanding that better quality of life, whether it's support with breastfeeding, whether it's support with childcare. A lot of companies are now offering stipends to their employees. So thinking about what are the things that I need to thrive? What are the things that I need to flourish in the workplace? Write a list and take that to your manager and say, is there anything here that we can come together, agree on? I call it the individual work-life plan, because I truly believe that our work and our life are now integrated. If you're expecting me to work from home, then you need to support me at home. If you're expecting me to, to do X, Y, this many projects, then how are you going to support me with my childcare responsibilities? How are you going to support me with my household responsibilities? And I think a lot of this is because a lot of women don't even understand that we can ask for these things. So I have 2 more minutes, so I'll take any questions, and you can throw that in the comment section or in the chat section. I'll take any questions. But while I wait for questions, I want to just read a comment from Katie. Katie has 2 kids, the primary breadwinner. You have the ability to work from home, and so I have also become the primary parent. Oh my word! When kids are sick. 2022 has been a struggle for us on that front. We have only had 3 weeks of both kids in daycare, and that's the thing that fully reflects, what is happening out there. How can we do that? Somebody said, tell me more about the check-ins and what it looked like. It's 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Don't make it long because you don't want things that, things to start creeping in, but put it on, have a conversation that let's check in 5 to 10 minutes. One of the things that we discuss is, hey, how are the kids, who did what, when, who has a play date tomorrow, who is, what are we, who is packing, we already know who is packing lunch, who is doing X, Y, and Z, but really just checking in, because a lot of time, and I'm going to encourage you to pick up a book called Fair Play. Please pick it up, Fair Play and Unicorn Space. It's by my wonderful friend, Eve Rodsky. And one of the things she talks about is having these conversations when emotion cognitive high. A lot of time you want to give your spouse or your partner feedback, right? Immediately they did something wrong. Oh, you didn't pack the lunch and that's why John was late for X, Y, and Z. Let's wait until the check-in time, right? So a lot of things happen throughout the day and I'm just like, we're going to check in, right? There's no need stressing ourselves out. When we check in, whoa, I didn't, I would have loved that you packed that lunch the night before. That way I could do drop off, a little bit earlier than I did today because the kids were late. And that is checking in when emotion is low and cognition is high. That person is more receptive. They are understanding of exactly what you need at that time. So that's what our check-in looked like. Thank you so much, Dr. Clara, for asking that. And start time is in 5. Okay, I don't know if I'm late or not, but it's 9:36 Eastern time. Could you put the book mentioned in the chat? Absolutely, I will do that. So this is Fair Play by Eve Rodsky. Fair Play and Unicorn Space. Eve Rodsky. And she has a lot of great things around how do you manage your household responsibilities as parents, as women, as men. So that's a very good book for us to pick up if we don't already have that in our Audible or Amazon books. All right, thank you, Janine. I hope you enjoyed that.
I honestly, I just looked at Kira and I wrote this down. Emotion is low, cognition is high. I was like, oh, that's like the most incredible thing I think I've heard.
Yeah,
forever.
Exactly.
That totally, I was just like, that is so true. That is so true.
And I like the strategy of giving the affirmation and then it's like the check-in and then maybe at the ask too.
Yeah.
And it's something that I picked up and it has reduced the nagging, because we as women, we are just like, oh my God, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But when you know that, we will check in. And when we check in, we will be able to reflect on what was done properly and what was done wrong. And then we correct ourselves. And I find that it's amazing as well for everything else, for finances, for, how do we redistribute the labor at home, right? Because if you come in and you're tired of checking, you're like exhausted because you've been the only one doing everything. You can then be like, oh my word, I would have loved to be supported today, because I did drop off, pick up, and this and that. And, how else can you contribute to our household, to our family? How else can you show up for us? Having that conversation in a way that you're not placing blame, you're basically saying, how can we together make this family work?
Gosh. Yeah. Blessing, we cannot thank you enough for being our keynote speaker this morning. We will definitely make sure that we get Eve's books linked out too when we send out the recording. I read Fair Play because of you, and that has been a really monumental support for our family. So that's such a great recommendation. We cannot thank you enough and hope that wherever you are right now that you get some rest, because you are probably the hardest working mama that we know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I will hang around as well, but thank you for having me.
Okay.
I'm
so excited you're here. We'll see you soon. Wow.
I know. I mean, we, like my husband and I at the beginning of the pandemic, we were kind of doing the check-in thing, but it was at the end of the night, like after the kid went to bed. So yeah, we're both exhausted and it's just a whole list of everything each other didn't do.
Yeah. So kind of taking her approach, I think, just would really make that such a strong.
I agree. And then we pretty much stopped doing the check-ins. So I think even non-pandemic, it's probably a good idea, especially with a small kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely. Oh gosh. Well, I'm excited to bring in our next speaker, which is Dr. Clara Krebs. And Dr. Clara Krebs is joining us from Hawaii.
one of my favorite places ever in the world.
I mean, Dr. Krebs, I know it's early in the morning for you, but if you happen to, give us a sight of a palm tree or something like wonderfully tropical, that's okay. That might just give us like a good, kind of vacation vibe here in Indy, where there's like an ambulance screaming down the street next right now. So I was like, shh, we're busy, be quiet. But regardless, we, in our next kind of break between speakers, we're going to shift to a different space here inside Maven Space, just to kind of keep showing off some little pieces of it. But I think at 10:30, we are going to take you on a really mini tour of the space. This is opening in May. And our study mom, Sarah, is going to kind of walk around. This is the first day she's been in here. So you're going to hear kind of like those really new, with fresh eyes perspective of this fabulous social hub that's opening in downtown Indy. But until we get there, Dr. Clara is here on deck, and Dr. Clara Krebs comes to us again, thanks to our title sponsor, FreedomDoc. I'm really so excited for you guys to hear from her. During our walkthrough Tuesday, she was already just kind of like,
she was ready to go. And I was like, I need to absorb everything that she's going to tell me.
Yes. Well, let's grab her. Hang tight. Let me find her hanging out over here. I think we've got her right here. I see you. Okay, hold on one second. Let me grab her. There she is. Hello.
There's not even sun up.
It's a little dark here.
What time is it there? Tell us.
3:41 a.m.
Oh my God.
There's your orchid right there.
Okay, I'll take it. Wow. Well,
Hi, everybody.
And I can tell you, after listening to Blessing, it is so worth it getting up early.
Good.
Oh my God, I want to go to brunch with her so badly.
It's just amazing. And
amazing.
As are you. We are so excited for you to bring this talk to our sisterhood today. And I know that you're really going to be focusing on how stress, oh my gosh, maybe I am under stress, affects women's health, and walking us through just being able to recognize some of those symptoms and signs, and even more. I don't want to preview it too much because you're the expert. So we're going to let you take it away. We're going to hop off of here. And if you need anything, we're obviously here in the chat. Just let us know.
Yeah, and I got your cell phone.
Yes, you
and
did.
So I'm not super technically, savvy. So let me get my everything going here. So we're going to do the screen share. Okay. All right, tell me, can people see now how boring I am? It's all just like, hold on. All right. Can everyone see?
We can see it. It looks great. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so I'll get started. And sorry, I'm doing a little PowerPoint, and thank you so much to Blessing. I am so glad that I'm part of this community and I was invited to be a part of this. I was taking notes the entire time listening to Blessing, and I really want her to come to Kauai. I want everyone to come to Kauai, and let's do a big brunch. But what I'm going to be talking about is more of the medical aspect, and also sharing my own journey with burnout and how I've gotten to where I am with being a mom, being a physician, and changing my career after burnout and through COVID. So my talk is the Great Burnout, because I feel like a lot of us women and moms during the last 2 years, we realized that we were really burning the candle at both ends, and we're not alone, and there's some medical reasons for it, and there's some things that we can do. So I think I talked a little bit about the other day, one of my goals with speaking to the sisterhood is really bringing honesty to the conversation about our health, and honesty to the conversation about how to seek out health and how to heal ourselves. Women are inherently and physiologically very complicated. When we go through stressful times, having a child, take your childcare, COVID. There's a lot of very complicated physiological, hormonal, neurological things that happen. And so when we feel like we can't get up and do the things we need to do, when we feel like we're drowning, there are some things that we can do. And there are some reasons for that. Now, during my talk, I want to make sure that everyone understands I'm not talking about major depression. I'm not talking about, things that need to be diagnosed by your physician. I'm talking about burnout, and I'm talking about that like drowning feeling. And, if you have any question about whether or not it's real burnout or if it's depression or a thyroid problem, please see your physician, because you do need to get some tests. This is not meant to be a blanket statement over everyone who's coming out of COVID. But what I want women to understand is our bodies really are a complex orchestra. And it's a really great analogy to understand how our hormones work, because we have this system over here who's playing this note. We have this system over here playing this other note. And we need to learn how to be the conductor of our systems. Because when we go into a physician or we go to see someone when we were really feeling like we're drowning, a lot of times we're not given answers that bring all of the components together, because our hormonal systems and our neurological systems are so complicated. Another thing I want to say before I get started is I will be talking about some supplements, and please make sure that you talk to your physician about it, because it might not be right for women who are pregnant or women who are breastfeeding. So what is burnout? And Blessing beautifully touched on this. It is emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. Physical exhaustion. So when I'm going to touch on the physical, I'm talking about the biochemical part of burnout. Now, we're at risk a lot of times as women when we get in situations where the reward of our work is not quite the same as the effort that we put in. But that's like what we do every day, right? So before COVID, we were constantly doing this, doing that, and constantly putting in effort. But the reward, to begin with, for many reasons that Blessing already said, we weren't getting the feed that we need back with our community, the feed that we need to get back with the effort that we have, that we need with everything we're putting out with our children, our community. And a lot of that was lost because the lack of community, which is why I'm thankful to be part of this sisterhood today. I'm really excited to get a Hawaii connection going with everyone. And so, doing this presentation, I was thinking, okay, well, really traumatic overextension of ourselves really is, and especially for me, that is what really led to my burnout journey. And when I mean traumatic, I mean to the point where myself was forgotten, to the point where I overextended myself and gave myself so much that there was nothing left. And you know what, when you get to that point, when there's nothing left, the easiest thing to do is to take care of other people, because you've gotten to a point where it's really hard to take care of yourself. And that's the burnout cycle in my mind, is where you keep giving to others because taking care of that traumatic overextension is such a hard thing to do. So before, I know this is a busy slide, but before COVID, we were already set up for like a perfect burnout. So all the things that we have to do during the day, money, juggling all of the plates, the hustle, the being the boss mom, being, the deadlines, the news, the Facebook, the social media. And then I'm going to show a video because I thought this was hilarious. This perfectly, I feel like, at least described me before COVID. So it's hopefully you guys can see this. This woman's hilarious. She is on Instagram, the new Stepford. Hopefully you can hear it.
I'm going to re-alphabetize the alphabet. It's all wrong. I'll explain later. I'm going to go fight the moon. Good night. Good morning. Thank you. I just had 9 cups of coffee. I can see inside out through time. I have no blood left, just vibration. I'm going to re-alphabetize the alphabet. It's all wrong. I'll explain later. I'm going to go fight the moon. Good night. Good morning. Thank you.
I mean, I think that's hilarious. That's the way I was before COVID, constantly trying to get the kids here, get the kids there, have the healthy lunch, be a physician, make sure I'm on all the committees. So just constantly self-medicating with coffee, just more and more cortisol, more stress on the system. So let's talk about why we're all burnt out after COVID, because most of us entered into COVID sort of like that. So increased cortisol, running around trying to, see God with coffee and trying to, fix the moon. Then we have COVID that comes in and there's a new threat. And our bodies, our biological systems do not know the difference between COVID and a saber-toothed tiger. They don't. We respond in the exact same way. And how our bodies respond is exactly like if we were running away from a tiger. Our lives now in modern day, living as moms, any little threat to our family, our livelihood, our existence is taken as a saber-toothed tiger. So our sympathetic nervous system kicks in. We have increased heart rate. We have increased blood pressure, dilated eyes, start breathing really quickly. Then our adrenal glands are turned on, increased cortisol. Our body is in high alert, So this happened when we started going through COVID. So what happens next? Like I said before, we are a symphony of hormones, neuroendocrine systems, neurological systems, microbiomes. Women are inherently more complicated than men. I'm sorry, we just are. Which is why a lot of times when we see male physicians, bless their hearts, they can't really help us figure out what's going on. So when we put our bodies through chronic stress, like COVID, and remember we went into COVID already stressed, our cortisol goes up, it affects our estrogen, our progesterone, which affects our insulin, which affects our melatonin. It's a very delicate balance. And again, go back to the symphony, everything needs to play at the right tune. And so when we're out of tune, lots of things happen. We feel burnt out, and being burnt out is, we all feel it slightly differently. So my burnout story is pretty extra crispy. I like my fries extra crispy. I like to get evidently burnt out extra crispy. I felt like I was completely drowning. I got rid of self-care because it was easier to take care of my patients and, my kids more than myself. At the end of the evening, after staying late at work, I found myself on social media, scrolling through things that looked like real life that weren't real life, looking at the terrible things that were happening, which doom scrolling didn't help my psyche, did not help my soul. I gained weight. I was in bed all the time. My periods started to become irregular. I was comparing myself with other people on social media, and that led to more social isolation, which is why Blessing also mentioned this. Social media, it's good, but it's also not great. Also was losing hair, and I felt trapped, completely trapped. Then I would go to work and feel like I wasn't doing what I needed to do for patients because my brain was on high alert. I felt like I was being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. When you feel like you're being attacked, your brain goes into autopilot, instinctual thinking. So you're not really using your higher thinking. You're just reacting. And by the way, that happens when we're at home as well. If you're burnt out and you're reacting to your loved one, your children, your friends, you just react. And that's instinctually what we do when we feel threatened. And so, my breaking point came when I started thinking, and by the way, this might sound traumatic, but it wasn't. It was kind of funny. I was thinking, I really need a broken leg vacation. I need to maybe I'll just fall down the stairs and, break a leg, and then, nothing major, and I'll just be able to stay home from work. That would be great. I would love that. I need a break. It's bad when you want the broken leg vacation. But I'm sure that has happened to many people. By the way, that is not major depression. It was not thoughts of suicide. And that's, again, I want people to understand, if you're feeling that, you need to see your physician or counselor. This was, I just need a break, and I think I need to break my leg to get a break. So that also led to me feeling like an imposter, like I didn't belong where I was. Even all the work I did to become a physician, I felt like shouldn't have been there because my brain wasn't working like it should have been. And doing that for 2 years was honestly very traumatic. I could not pull myself up by my bootstrings to make things better. And I think that's a very common experience for women. And, you know, going back to the honesty part of what I want to tell people is I felt like that. I felt like every day I got up and went to work, I felt like I was an imposter and I wasn't doing the best job. And let me tell you, when I went home from, you know, I came home and with the kids, that was even worse. So I know a lot of other people probably felt that too. And again, honesty, we're sharing our journeys. I mean, it was really tough. So I'm going to help, you know, I'm going to show you how I tried to get through it. So I went to see my doctor. So have you ever wondered what happens when a doctor goes to see a doctor? Well, it's basically the same thing as when you go to see a doctor. It was basically not that great. My appointment lasted 7.5 to 15 minutes. I was told my labs are normal. I'm probably going into early menopause. Thanks a lot. You should get some Zoloft, some counseling, and maybe you should get some birth control pills because your hair is falling out, and lose some weight while you're at it and exercise more and go on vacation. Yeah, that's right. No, that is not what I needed. And, you know, that was actually this appointment and going through the burnout of COVID helped lead me to my journey to becoming a direct primary care physician and starting my fellowship with functional medicine. Because us as women, when we go see a physician and we have these problems, we need more than 7 minutes. It's a complicated symphony of problems, and we don't need to be told everything's okay because your labs are normal and just take some Zoloft. There are lots of things we can do, and I'm going to show you some of the things we can do. So burnout basically for us women means neuroendocrine chaos. What that means, and I already touched on some of it, is that our nervous systems are turned on, high alert, saber-tooth tiger, and then our hormones, cortisol goes up, it changes our estrogen, progesterone, so we have hair falling out, blood pressure going up, our immune system's not working, we go on the autopilot, we wear and tear our muscles, we don't heal as well, our metabolism goes down because guess what? Evolutionarily, women under stress, when we're stressed out, our body does not want us to get pregnant, so we have fertility problems, and our body wants us to store food, be very efficient with calories. So we put on weight. So what do we do when we're women? We start putting on weight and we're stressed out. We start drinking the coffee, we start starving ourselves or doing the, a low fat diet, which makes everything way worse, right? So there's lots of different symptoms of burnout. These are just some of them. Also, your thyroid starts dysfunctioning, your libido goes down, you're gaining weight, you can't get pregnant, you get acne, hair starts falling out here and showing up here. That really happens. Yeah, that happened to me. So yeah, so burnout really changes our symphony and we need to learn how to rebalance it. So here is the real prescription for how we change our symphony and how we get control of our own symphony. We need to focus on sleep. We need to focus on gentle movement. By the way, remember, anything we do when we're feeling burnt out is our body's already under stress. So we don't want to stress it out. So imagine you're being, your body's used to being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you start a HIIT class for an hour and a half every day. That is not going to help your body rest and restabilize. The symphony is going to start playing, chaos. So just think about that analogy when we're talking about bringing ourselves back into balance, to bring the symphony back into harmony. So, and then stress reduction. Blessing started talking about that. And we have some other speakers that are going to be talking about the mindfulness and the prayer and setting boundaries. And I'm so excited about those speakers. I've got my notepad ready. Blood sugar stabilization. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, but super important to balance our hormones as women. Nutrition. We've been doing it wrong, and I'm going to show you how to do it a little bit better. And then we need to really pay attention to our microbiome, and then we need to start detoxing our bodies and our lives. And that's social media, that's getting rid of alcohol, that's pooping every day, and that can be just drinking a lot of water. And sometimes that honestly means detoxing people from our lives and jobs from our lives that don't really feed us. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the supplementation and some tools that we can use. So first off, the food. we want to feed our orchestra the right nutrients. So when I talk about what type of foods really balance our hormones and feed our bodies as women, I'm talking about whole food. You don't have to go and buy some packaged food. All you need to eat is food that looks like food. Focus on veggies, add fat. Fat is our friend. You know, I grew up during the days of snack wells where fat was the enemy. You just eat bagels. That is the wrong way to eat for women. We need fat because fat actually makes hormones. Fat helps us clear other hormones. And we also need protein. So go for the fat, go for the whole food, go for the veggies. When I'm talking about fat, really good fats, avocado oil, olive oil. Ghee, by the way, is great. It's clarified butter. Eat it a couple times a week. And then MCT is medium chain triglycerides. That comes from coconuts. And it's really good for your liver. It's really good for instant energy and mental clarity. 1 tablespoon a day. I'll get more to that later. So rainbow with berries. And then if you really want to get things kickstarted, 3 weeks of no alcohol, no vegetable oils, no gluten, no dairy, no added sugar, no processed foods. Okay. When I did this, I was about 80-20. Okay. I'm going to be honest. Like, we have to live real life when we have kids. I'm going to have a piece of macaroni every once in a while. That's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? Not all of us are Gwyneth Paltrow and have, chefs and the Dalai Lama on speed dial. So do the best you can. Take 3 weeks to really put in, effort into the food. And you will definitely feel better. So this whole intermittent fasting fad, when you're stressed, again, think about when you're in burnout. Something's chasing you. Do you want to starve yourself? No, you don't want to starve yourself too long. But 12 hours is the natural amount of time that our body should be without food. So, and that's very easy to achieve. Dinner 8 p.m. done, 8 a.m. have breakfast. So that helps your metabolism, helps clear your gut microbiome, helps clear your liver, and helps get you the metabolic flexibility. Please do not start intermittent fasting when you're stressed out. 12 hours is a normal cycle for a human. Do not stress your body when you're stressed. You're already down the stress road. You're only going to harm yourself more. Okay. Then the big thing for us women too is cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, the kale, the radishes. Those are super important because it feeds bacteria in our gut that actually breaks down excess estrogen, because sometimes when we're stressed, we make too much estrogen, and we need to feed our gut microbiome so it helps us clear that estrogen. Cruciferous vegetables are key to it. And by the way, roasted cabbage is really delicious. By the way, I know it sounds gross, but it's really good. So another thing, food. Sleep. We have to be sleeping. And I know that's hard. I'm up at 3 a.m. Do as I say, not as I do. But it's really important to be consistent. Every once in a while, getting up at 3 a.m. is not going to hurt you. Big points to take home with this. You need 7 to 8 hours. Try to be up by 7 a.m. We really want to keep our body cool, especially as, I'm 45 now. I'm starting to get hot flashes already. And I think part of that is from COVID. I'm entering in perimenopause a little early. I need to be cooled while I sleep. We actually decrease our cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone, which is going haywire because of burnout. We need to decrease that and really clear it while we're sleeping. And our body does that better when our internal temperature decreases by a few degrees. And the optimal temperature for that is 67 degrees. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my husband does not like it that cold. So there are a few tricks that we can do. There are these pads you can put on your bed, one called Chili Sleep. They have different ways to, and by the way, I'm not being paid by anyone to say this. I'm just saying this has worked for me. So you can decrease your temperature. It's a water-based cooling system that you just sleep on. You get cooled down, the hot flashes go down, your body temperature goes down, you're clearing your cortisol. you're getting a better night's sleep. And then this is also really important. And this is something I did, and it made a huge difference. The bedroom is only for 2 S's. No screens. It's for sleep and sex. Okay. Get the technology out of the room, get the phone out of the room, just the 2 S's. Okay. Make it a sanctuary for sleep and rest. And before you go to bed, I know this sounds, sort of strange, but you really want to start getting your house dark and quiet, turning off the LED lights. If we need to, start wearing some blue blocking glasses, but really start getting the house, darker. And so that's going to help kids sleep better. That's going to help you with your cortisol. It's going to help you get to sleep better. It's going to help you have better quality sleep. Then if we're still having, and I actually did this because I was having trouble sleeping during burnout, passion flower tea or taking passion flower supplements, they're very high, lots of research on it, improves quality sleep because GABA is a neurotransmitter that decreases anxiety. Another biohack for sleeping is when you get up in the morning. This really does work, by the way. Go outside. If you're going to do emails, if you're going to do something, read, go outside and get natural morning light into your eyes for 30 minutes. That resets your circadian rhythm. That helps you release your melatonin when you want to go to sleep later, later that night. It helps you wake up. It helps a natural cortisol surge. It is such a free, important thing we've forgotten as human beings in modern life, especially over COVID. Sunshine in the eyes, half an hour every morning, 7 a.m. needs to be done. If you're in a place, I used to live in Seattle when I was doing my medical training, where you don't have sunshine at 7 a.m., you can get a light box, and it needs to be at least 10,000 lux. And so what I would do is just put that facing your eyes. That can be a temporary substitute, but sleep is very key. So another thing us women need to be very cognizant of, because again, the hormone symphony, we are constantly bombarded by xenoestrogens. What that is a compound that we don't want in us, that we don't know we're getting. It's in our makeup, it's in our shampoos, it's in our water, and it's binding to estrogen sites all over our body and increasing our risk for breast cancer, decreasing our natural hormones, and making it very difficult for us to maintain our cool during burnout times. So not only are we dealing with an orchestra, we're dealing with people trying to step into the orchestra who don't belong there, people who don't know how to play the tune. And that is the endocrine disruptors and the xenoestrogens. And how we try to decrease that is clean water. By the way, this is my own water filter. It's called a Berkey filter. It's a charcoal filter. And I really like it. It's sort of expensive, but it's also not as expensive as like installing a reverse osmosis. If you get the water filters and the that you put normally in your refrigerator, they really aren't as good as doing a gravity big charcoal filter. I'd really look into this. This has been around for a long time. Other things we can do, and by the way, I hate this. I used to love perfume, but fragrances, if it has fragrance in it, it's going to be an endocrine disruptor. It's going to mess with the symphony. So it's got to go. And then making sure that when we buy new makeup, don't go and throw out all your makeup, but when you need new stuff, get clean makeup. And then also what we clean our homes with, the Environmental Working Groups Guide is really great for looking for a guide for that. And then another really important thing is the things we put in our vagina for feminine hygiene really need to be unscented, organic, feminine hygiene products. Really, really, really important. And of course, drinking from stainless steel and glass. So I talked a little bit about the microbiome before, but not many people know about the estrobolome. So it's a fancy word for the microbiome that takes care of part of our estrogen metabolism. So as women, our body produces estrogen, and then we have to get rid of the used up estrogen, or the estrogen that the too much estrogen, goes to our liver and then excreted into our intestines. Once it gets there, there are specific types of microbes that break it down so it's not reabsorbed. If we aren't feeding our microbiome, we're going to reabsorb that estrogen. It's going to go back in the cycle. So we're just going to be feeding back into this estrogen cycle, and our orchestra is going to get out of sync again. So really, really, really important that we put the right types of food into our mouths to feed the gut microbiome. I like to think about the gut microbiome sort of like a fish tank. You know, you need to have a really good, or more like a reef, a coral reef. You need to have lots of diversity so that everything works together. You want to feed it lots of different things. So lots of different colors. Again, the cruciferous vegetables specifically help the microbes that are part of the estrogen estrobolome. So, and by the way, there's lots of studies going on right now about the estrobolome and increased risk of breast cancer and increased risk of other cancers. So more to come about that. Basically everything in functional medicine is really about the microbiome right now. Eat lots of, lots of variety, get rid of the alcohol. Again, I'm sorry, but we got to. Prebiotics, probiotics, and lots of fiber. And then the omega-3 fatty acids, I'm going to go over supplements at the end, but if you're going to take a supplement, omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory, help heal your gut, and help feed your microbiome. And then ghee, I talked about this, about fat before. Ghee has a specific fat in it that helps heal up your gut lining and helps you that estrogen metabolism help. And then fermented foods, there's so many studies with fermented foods that help with the anxiety, the burnout, the estrogen metabolism. You should be eating some sort of fermented food at least twice a day at a minimum. And that is kimchi, miso, tempeh, sauerkraut, yogurt, anything like that. We really, really, really need it as women. And then also we really need to decrease our exposure to anti-inflammatories, alcohol, again, antibiotics, and artificial sweeteners. Now, as a physician, when you are told you need an antibiotic, I mean, sometimes you really do need one, but really think and ask, do I need this, or what would be the, am I running low on time?
Yes,
This is your Oscars.
This is, yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me go actually do one last thing. Okay.
Yeah, we heard the last slide was probably the best. So
Yeah. So if I actually had to say, when we are really burnt out, how do we get ourselves out of the burnout stage when you don't have any energy? There's a couple of ways and a couple of supplements you can do. So magnesium definitely is one of them. Also helps you poop. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen that helps decrease stress, but that's not a long-term solution. Vitamin D, we need all of, what's that?
is it possible to snort that for faster absorption?
No, vitamin D maybe, but then the B vitamins we definitely need, and then the omegas, and then the roseola when you're feeling really, really low in energy, and then the probiotic and prebiotic. This is a really important slide, but can I have a few more minutes?
We've got like 1 minute.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, these are all.
I think we're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, and we need to get. We definitely.
By the way, so let me wrap it up. Basically, everyone heard the most important parts. We need to learn how to become our own conductor of our symphony of hormones and neuroendocrine systems. Okay, my recipe and my prescription was detoxing from things that weren't beneficial: the alcohol, social media, gluten. Making sure I pooped, drinking a ton of water, then getting my food straight with the flax, the matcha. I didn't talk about matcha, but like I substituted coffee with matcha, getting lots of sleep with a chili pad, microbiome. I started using devices with the sugar and to maintain my sugar, and then journaling, which we're going to have someone talk about, and the supplements. And then remember, taking care of ourselves is much harder than taking care of other people. But we need to refocus our focus on ourselves. So there is a reason why they tell us to put the oxygen on ourselves first.
Such a good point. Gosh, Dr. Krebs, we
Yeah.
definitely need to get a copy of this deck
Oh,
from
I love
you.
it. This is my favorite one, you guys.
By the way, I love this quote, and it really spoke to me before this talk. How is Dolly Parton so amazing? She just is, right? So she said she credits all of her success to her mom telling her from the get-go, always keep something back for you. And always keep the focus on yourself before you give it to other people. I think that's a really important thing.
That's such a great quote to resonate, I think, for everyone today. And that's definitely one of the takeaways I'm writing this down
Dolly
right now.
always gets it.
She's amazing. Speaking of amazing, Dr. Krebs, it's so early for you. I don't know that I would be able to even function in a 8, what you just done.
Yeah.
B, we are so grateful to you for being with us this morning. And
Absolutely.
these resources are incredible. I can't wait to share this with everyone.
I
So they
know,
can
I'm
get
so excited.
And by the way, if people want books to just supplement what I was talking about, these are some very, very good books.
Awesome.
we are literally watching the chat and seeing people say, okay, I'm adding this to my Amazon cart. So, and Tiffany, I think that was the two of you. Definitely, here you go. There's some more. So, Dr. Krebs, thank you so much for being here this morning with us with Sisterhood, and
Bright and early.
Yes,
Thank
super
you.
bright and early. We appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
We've got links to continue connecting with you here in the chat. And Alyssa, we're just going to go ahead and grab you up next.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krebs.
You're welcome.
We'll see you soon.
Aloha.
Hello. Oh yeah, we can be like this and stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay, Alyssa, we're just going to pop you right in. I hope you are fired up and ready to go. And will we grab you?
We changed spots too, by the way.
I know. Oh, yeah, we should say that, Alyssa, while you're coming in.
Our,
So, yeah, we're in vignette number 2 at Maven Space.
cute
Maybe like back up just a little.
Yeah.
But this cute spot. I'm loving these chairs.
Me too.
Might need to take these home. Alyssa, would you?
This whole space is so
We know your
beautiful.
dog is always in the background with you. Would these look comfortable enough for?
Well, let me see. Let's find out.
Oh,
So
good,
what
good,
do you, what do you, I think it's a yes. It's a yes, definitely. But she would have to have like a couple pillows and like a blanket.
He has a pillow. Oh, that's so cute.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we know that you've got some incredible tips as we start to shift to talking about stress and time management. And oh my gosh, I know that you watched the live with us that Alyssa did with us a few months ago.
This is so applicable right now,
gonna be
especially.
awesome.
Thank you.
So we're going to just let you take this away.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. And let's see how well this works for me here. So I'd love for you guys to, let's see, so we're going to go into this. And can you guys tell me, do you see everything here? Can you see my slide? Okay, amazing. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm not gonna spend too much time on anything extra. I feel like we all need a minute to just absorb what Dr. Krebs just did to our brains. That was amazing, and I'm so excited. So what she talked about goes perfectly into talking about this concept of overwhelm, self-sabotage, time management blocks. Okay, so as the mama, and I just loved Blessing's keynote today, because as the mamas, we are the ones that are responsible for keeping the show going, are we not? So basically, you know, I'm a single mama, but even with a partner, it can be really heavily falling on the mama's shoulders to make sure that everything is running on time, to make sure that you're not procrastinating, that you're not sitting on the couch when it's calling your name at, you know, 7 o'clock at night after, you know, maybe you're doing bedtimes or whatever, and then you just want to sit down, but actually there's like an hour's worth of work to do more, and we're trying to figure out how to prioritize ourselves. So I want to talk about all of that today. And first, I just want us all to take a big deep breath. There's always more we could be doing for ourselves, okay? But the message that I hear the other speakers giving, and I know that right after this, after we get the Maven Space tour, we're going to get an amazing mindfulness meditation from Carmel Clay Parks and Rec. So just remember that none of the extra stuff that we're telling you to do or whatever, none of the extra stuff, it matters unless it comes from a place of rest and peace, okay? So when we're talking about rescuing ourselves from burnout, let's just dive right in. I'm going to tell you first just a little bit about who I am. So my name's Alyssa. I'm a trauma-informed life strategist. I've also referred to myself as a time strategist because my specialty is helping women, my clients, identify what their time management blocks are, and then tracing back the self-sabotage to see what's underneath, and then to help heal from what's underneath so that the symptoms don't continue to happen. So I've been featured in Forbes, in Fox 59 for my self-compassionate time management models. I'm going to share some of that with you today because I really, really, really want you mamas to have some self-compassion, okay? So I help women to achieve independence from their trauma and their self-sabotage so that they can shine in their next level, like in their next stage of life. I have a son who is 7.5. And then this is you've already seen her once. This is Mika. She's my self-proclaimed. I don't know if you see in my small little video window here, but she's thrilled to be here. So 7.5 years ago, I had one of the most traumatic pregnancies that I had never heard of anybody having like a traumatic pregnancy, and it could just be because we're not encouraged to talk about that. But I had a very traumatic pregnancy, super traumatic birth, massive medical trauma as a result, massive trauma in my marriage, moved across the country to Manhattan where I knew no one, had to learn the subway system with legs that weren't functioning real well, found out I had some fun medical conditions that were genetic that had never showed themselves until this trauma all hit. I literally had nothing, felt like I knew nothing, and felt like none of my previous life had actually mattered or done anything for me, because I thought if you just do the right thing enough of the time, you'll get to the right place where you want to be. Turns out bad crap can happen anyway. And so what do we do then when the light is not at the end of the tunnel anymore? So I mapped my way out of that dark space with my faith, the support people that I started to formulate that were actually healthy. I got rid of a lot of the toxic things, and I mapped my way out. And I swore to myself that if I ever got out of this, if there ever was a light at the end of the tunnel, I would then help other people chart their way, to help other women chart their way out as well of the darkness. So that's why I'm here. And I'm so grateful to be asked to share today, because I just want to give you a quick overview of what might be causing your stress and overwhelm, what might be, and you've already heard a lot of reasons why we don't prioritize ourselves. It doesn't make a lot of sense in our culture for us to prioritize ourselves unless you actually know what's going on. And then that's really the only choice. I have some solutions and ideas for you to try. And I've got a little free download for you at the end. And I want to share some things about what you can do as your next steps. So let's talk about overwhelm. Overwhelm, just like Dr. Krebs said, is that survival primal response to a threat. Now, she talked a lot about the physiological things, and that's a lot of what I talk about too, just the fact that our brain doesn't know the difference between running 5 minutes late for an appointment and actually being chased and needing to run for your life, okay? So what happens in that moment is that your right brain perceives the threat, and then it's like martial law. The right brain is like primal brain's in charge now. Left brain, logical brain, higher level decision making, calculus, geography, like all the things that you need your left brain for, all the really sort of calculated higher level stuff. No one needs that when you're running to the nearest tree to escape a predator. So that kind of goes on the back burner. Right brain takes over and like heightens your senses. Has anyone ever had one of the little people henpecking you when you're already stressed or running behind for something? What happens? It triggers this massive response in our bodies and causes us to have that whatever that overwhelmed response is, that rage that goes. Okay, now I've got the chat up. Thank you guys. So yes, let's tell me in the chat, what is this like for you? Where do you feel it in your body? What happens for you? Do you have that 0 to 60 rage trigger that can happen for you when you're really overwhelmed? Fellow traumatic birth survivor here. Oh, Kira, yes, girl. I mean, it's so hard. And you know what? Can I just say, this is not in my presentation, but I won't digress for too long on this. birth in and of itself, because of what a big change it is physiologically, it's a trauma. It doesn't matter how well it goes. It's a trauma for the mom and for the baby, which is why the newborn phase can be difficult as well. But if anything goes wrong or you don't get your birth plan that you wanted, the brain then perceives that as like, we are going to die. And so no wonder we go into survival mode so easily. So what happens on a smaller scale is that we also go into whatever the brain learned was the appropriate sabotage, negative self-talk, being hard on ourselves, believing that we just need to do better, be more, work harder, all of those things that we developed as coping mechanisms to make it through whatever dysfunction we had in childhood. Those are the things that then exhibit themselves. So sabotage, overwhelm, it's an unhelpful coping mechanism. That's what that is. Sensory overload. Yeah, kids are meant to be loud, but between that and the TV and my husband's phone, it's too much. I tell you what, I'll just tell you, I have these Ring earplugs that allow you to hear someone talking to you, but block out bigger noises. I can't even tell you, like even when I'm washing dishes and clanging pots and pans, it really helps me as a highly sensitive mama. So, all right, so next, I just want to talk about the type of sabotage that you can be experiencing. Now, when you're in survival mode, chances are you're going to be feeling lots of guilt and shame that you might be defective somehow, that you're not getting enough done and that you'll never get enough done. You might run behind. I was a chronic late young woman, and it's only been in the recent last few years that I realized there were other ways to shift how I was seeing how I managed my time and how I saw time. And now it's not as nearly as much of a problem. Now, yes, if someone's throwing up, like we're going to be late to school, but or not go to school. And then the whole day gets changed around if you're working from home, right? Another thing you might notice, this is a sabotage. You can't say no to people. There's so much that is strongly imprinted on us about our role as the mom, as a woman in our society. It is way more common for us to overextend ourselves for things that don't serve us than it is for us to be able to know where our boundaries are, and then to find ways that align with us to say no to things. Sacrificing your needs. Somebody needs something. Oh, well, I could do that, so I will do that. Even though my left arm is off and I'm bleeding out, I could still walk because I have two legs, so I'm going to continue to go, right? So we all know what that feels like, to just continue to push and push and push. So here's the great news, and I hope you're hearing this message from the other speakers that they've been giving too. We're all saying it is not your fault. This is literally just the only survival response that we could have had based on our life experience and based on society's expectations and the lack of support that we have as mamas. So the right brain takes over, left brain lays low. It turns off your access to actual productivity. So when you're in survival mode, you might get stuff done, but you'll probably notice a brain fog. You'll probably notice that it's really hard to prioritize your to-do list. Tell me if you recognize any of these. You'll notice that there are systems in your body that are turned off. Like Dr. Krebs said, your reproductive system is not interested in conceiving when you're in high stress. It revs up your other systems that you will actually need if you are running from that saber-toothed tiger. So your heart rate will go up. You might have tense muscles. You might have the whatever your particular brand of self-sabotage is. That couch sabotage is pretty common. Like, you need to be doing stuff. Yes, absolutely, the sensory overload. So you need to be doing stuff, but the couch is calling your name, or your Netflix show is calling your name, or Instagram scrolling, and you just look up and it's 2 hours later. That is a way that your brain is sabotaging you, but it's trying to desperately fight for you to be able to get the rest that you need. It's just not a helpful way to do it. Okay, so here is what the key to the whole thing is. We have to hack that survival brain response. So if we're going to work smarter and not harder as moms, and actually be able to implement some of the helpful things that you're hearing today, we all need to be doing some mindfulness and meditation. We need to be doing some journaling. We need to be taking some supplements, but that can just add to that to-do list, and it can just pile up. So what we have to do is we have to hack the survival brain response to unlock the left brain, as it can help you do the logical things and not feel like a burden, okay? So here's one of the most important things that you could do. And if you hear nothing else from me today, this is what I want you to take away. There is a root to these symptoms of sabotage and overwhelm. It is very possible that at some point you experienced either little t trauma, which is the repeated, it's when a need goes repeatedly unmet, but it's not a life or death situation, or big T trauma, which is the type of trauma that's a big bad thing that should never happen to anyone. Okay. So if you haven't ever looked underneath the surface of your procrastination, your people pleasing, all of these different things, then I want you to just take a minute today and figure out what might be at the root. If you're looking at your workbook at all that you got for the summit today, you'll see that there's a space for you to write out what your survival symptoms are. Maybe you procrastinate. Maybe that overwhelm makes a brain fog so thick you can't get past the first thing on your to-do list. Maybe you lose the ability to prioritize stuff. Maybe you run late, run behind. Maybe you stop eating. Maybe you don't drink water on those days. So whatever it is for you, maybe you notice that you have like a migraine all the time. I can't even tell you. It's 2 different ones of my clients this week are really struggling with overwhelm, and they're both having migraines. And so if you notice the tension, so write down what your stress tells are so that you can know when to enact this little plan that I'm going to give you in just a second. Okay. So you get to the root of your symptoms, address the trauma, then you make your short-term plan for calm. So then we build a long-term lifestyle of calm based on what I'm going to share with you in this next slide. Okay, so this framework, this is what you can use to actually hack your survival brain, okay? So the first step when you notice the stress is that you are going to look for safety. If you are trying to parent through an emotional trigger moment for yourself, you will know that that doesn't normally go very well, right? If you are hitting that sensory overload and somebody spills something, somebody hits the dog, no, I'm not speaking from experience. I mean, so if that's happening, that's not your moment to parent. That's not your moment to try to have control of the situation. That's your moment to take 3 deep breaths. 3 deep breaths will give your survival brain a little indicator that we're not actually running away from something. We need left brain online to make parenting decisions. So if you can take 3 deep breaths, it takes less than 30 seconds, in through the nose and out through the mouth, that will reset the survival response. It'll give you like half a minute to really make a good decision about what you need to do. I would also recommend that you actually take a break at that point, whether that means you just say, the mess is going to wait. The dog is, I'll take the dog with me so the dog doesn't get hit again. Whatever you need to do to give yourself like a 3 to 5 minute break, and then to really calm your body before you try to parent, before you try to do anything responsible or productive, okay? If you're procrastinating a work project, this works wonders. It's counterintuitive to stop for a moment when you're procrastinating and to take a break. But if you get to the bottom of why you're procrastinating, that 3 to 5 minutes will feel very productive, because then you can actually get stuff done when your survival brain is calm. The next S is self-care. Again, like Blessing said, it's a buzzword. I'm like sick of it. I'm like so tired. Do self-care, do self-care, do self-care. So here is the way I have my brain to shift it, because I feel, it's really easy to feel shame when you're not doing enough self-care. I mean, it's like, hi, we feel shame about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then we know what we need to do, but we're not doing it, or we don't have to do it. And so now we feel more ashamed. So we're stuck in that cycle, and the sabotage and the stress will come up. So here's what I want you to do. Again, take a deep breath. Do some self-nurturing. And what I recommend is doing, yes, Tiffany, I'm in your brain. What I recommend doing is thinking about how could you do a 1% upgrade for any one of your 5 senses. We want to nurture our 5 senses in that moment. So you take your split-second break, you go nurture yourself for a second. I'm gonna give you my best hack. A hot cup of tea or your favorite drink, whatever it is, preferably not day drinking while you're, with the kids, right? We're not whining in the morning, but whatever your favorite drink is, especially if it's warm in your cup, This will hit 4 out of 5 senses if you really take a moment to savor, to smell, to taste, to hold. Okay, so that's my fastest hack for nurturing your senses. So if you're in the middle of a trigger, you stop and go take a minute to make some tea, take your 3 deep breaths while the tea is brewing, and then you grab your cup and then you decide, how am I going to logically move through this? What's my next logical step? If the logic isn't coming, you're still in survival mode. So you take care of yourself, girl, until you are not in survival mode, even if it's just 2 minutes free of survival mode. And then you breathe and then you move back into it. The third thing that we all need, which is why we're here today, is safe support. I was a professional toxic person attractor in my past life, okay? It was like my job. I was like, okay, you need to use me for all the things that I can do because I'm really good at a lot of stuff and you need to use me. Well, I guess that's where I get my value. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say yes and say yes and say yes and say yes. And you're going to be toxic and use me and I'm not going to do anything about it. So now I have this beautiful life where I only have green light people in my life. I have a little model where we talk about red light people. They're always toxic. Yellow light people, they're sometimes toxic, not safe around some topics. And green light people who will say, I hear you. I'm here for you. Tell me everything. I'm not judging you. That's your green light person. We need those people daily. Daily be in touch with that girlfriend. Daily be in touch with that mentor. Daily be in touch with that group. Somebody that really validates you, because there are all kinds of reasons to gaslight ourselves as moms and make ourselves feel crazy for the stress that we feel. But we need people who will reinforce that we're not going to be like that. Okay, so I'm trying to wrap up here because I know we have some really juicy stuff to wrap up this amazing summit today. Thank you, Janine and Kira, and just everybody who made this possible. And thank you for inviting me and all the other speakers. My hats are off to you, amazing mamas who are supporting other mamas. So I would love for you to come over and join me in the Free Stress Less Lounge on Facebook. It is such an amazing community, and we have women who are supporting each other and really just being there for each other. I'm there to support you. Come on over. I have a free gift for you that you put, I think you guys have this, maybe five packs to stress less. You guys might have that that link that you can put in the chat, Tiffany, maybe. And so then I also wanted to invite you, if you are really interested in getting to the root of your self-sabotage, I happen to be, it wasn't planned this way, but I happen to be doing a free masterclass on that in a couple of weeks here on May 3rd. There's a replay available if you can't attend live, but basically we're going to be talking about all these things and we're going to have an hour. So we'll go into more depth and I'm going to give you some really helpful stuff, what the 3 pillars are that you want to build your life upon if you are trying to live independent from trauma and self-sabotage and the overwhelm. So thank you, ladies, for being here. I would just love to connect with you more if you want to come over on Instagram and follow me. Thank you for having me, Janine, and everybody.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, and just having you say 3 deep breaths. Kira, hold my hand.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yes, and so here comes our meditation after the tour. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. We will see you so soon. Okay. Wow. I'm okay. I'm totally ready for this meditation.
I know. Yeah. I was like, why does it only work if someone reminds me to
Yes.
take a breath? I'm
so right.
I need to learn how to remind myself again.
Yeah. Well, it's starting to pick up a little bit here at Maven Space. We're starting to see a couple people pop in. So I'm excited to be able to take you on a tour. What we're going to do next, though, is we're shifting gears based on that cue from Alyssa. And we are welcoming in Josephine from Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. Josephine is going to lead us through a 10-minute meditation because I think now that our brains have started to take in all this info, it's probably good to just kind of just take a moment to really quietly allow that to absorb. So Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation has long been a wonderful partner of the CityMoms. We are super excited that they are participating this way in Sisterhood. So let me grab Josephine. She's been very patiently waiting here. Let me just grab her. Yay, Josephine, you're up. We're so excited. Hold on. I think we should probably shift to a new space after this.
Yeah,
Kind of show
I
off
think
maybe
so.
something new. Here she comes. Hi, Josephine. I think we're having you unmute and start your camera so that we can see you.
Okay.
We can hear you. We see that you're coming in.
Okay. All right.
There you are. Yay. Thank you so much for being here. I know that we're running a couple minutes, delayed on our schedule.
Yes. I was looking at my clock. All right.
Right in. No worries. Sneak off right here. So.
Hi, Alyssa.
Get away.
All right. Welcome, everyone. And my name is Josephine, and I represent Common Clay Parks and Recreation. And the Monan Community Center is just a small part which offers a lot of fitness classes, and other than that, a lot of wellness classes as well. So feel free to look up at commonclayparks.com, and we also offer pool passes, and we have a beautiful outdoor park, water park, which will be open pretty soon in May, and the membership includes the water park. It's amazing. So I hope whenever you get time, you are able to come and visit us. All right, let's go ahead and I'll guide you through a little meditation. Find a nice and easy spot, or maybe on a chair. And if you're laying down already, maybe you just stay laying down on the floor, finding a nice, comfortable chair, maybe pushing yourself all the way back on the back of your chair. And let's go ahead and gently place our hands on top of our laps and gently soften our gaze. Or maybe even close your eyes. And then slowly, let's zoom out from all the chaos that's happening around us and bring our awareness to our breath. Noticing our breath and how it feels in our body. Inhaling through your nose. Notice the rise of your chest, your rib cage, and your belly. Now let's take a nice deep cleansing breath here. Nice deep long breath filling up our lungs. And exhaling out through your mouth. Let's do that one more time. Now slowly following back, returning back to your nice easy breath. Practicing gratitude has a profound effect in potential to completely change our state of well-being. When we express our deepest gratitude and appreciation, we send this wonderful message to the source of our own understanding. I invite you to express gratitude for all that we have right now, all that we are blessed with. The sky above us, the earth below us, the fresh air that we are able to have, Mother Nature, the freedom. Whenever we get stressed out, overwhelmed, or get worried with our daily stressors, this is an important tool that we can always practice. Just zoom out, bring your awareness to your breath, And think about 3 things that come to your mind at that moment that we are so grateful for. Things that money can't buy. So right now, I invite you to really tap into those 3 things that you're grateful for. Maybe our friends, our family, our good health. Maybe just appreciating the time that we could be here. Whatever that is. If your mind starts wandering around, let those thoughts come and drift away. And come back to your breath. And notice when we are grateful for, when we just cultivate this practice of gratitude in us every single day, notice how our body feels now. When we begin to bask into the attitude of gratitude, notice how much our heart feels lighter. Notice how much our body is at ease. Your entire body feels in space. Remember, friends, whenever we are overwhelmed, stressed, or worried, this would be a nice practice too for all of us. Just take a few moments, sit down, bring your awareness to your breath, and think about 3 to 4 things that you're absolutely grateful for daily. Just screen your body here, right from your tippy toes to your crown of your head. Notice any kind of stress, if you're holding any stress. Just breathe into those spaces. And as you exhale, allow to let go. Notice your shoulders, relax them back and down. Notice your jaw, if you're still clenching them. Relax your jaw. Notice that mellow breath going in and out. Relax your tongue by rolling it back and down from the roof of your mouth. Soften your gaze. Soften the space between your eyebrows. And let your thoughts come and go. Let them drift away. We'll slowly start reawakening the energy in our body. Slowly wiggling our toes. Slowly wiggling our fingers. Keep your eyes gently softened and closed. And let's take a nice, deep, grateful breath by reaching our arms up overhead, keeping our eyes closed. Filling our hearts with gratitude. And bring those hands together. And bring those spread hands to heart center. Open up your thumbs. And then slowly place them between your eyebrows, your third eye. May the peace, love, gratitude be always be in our thoughts. Gently lower your thumb to your lips, your mouth. May the peace, love, and gratitude always be in our words. And slowly lowering the thumb to our heart. May the peace, love, and gratitude always be in our actions. I'm grateful for this opportunity today here, for being a part of this summit. I hope you use this tool, practicing gratitude, cultivating every day, and find that changing your mindset, your body. May all you think, may all you say, may all you do reflect the peace, love, and gratitude that's in your life. Have a wonderful rest of your day and summit. And thank you all again. Namaste.
I almost don't want to like pop it in because that was just
No.
so
I'm like,
calming.
Oh, thank you. Is it not bad?
It was so, I know. I'm like here.
ready for a nap.
Could you hear the music? Could you hear the music in the back?
Yes, that was so
Okay.
perfect. It was like the perfect volume. Your voice just is so delightful. Oh my
thank
goodness.
you.
Thank you
All right, thank you.
so very much, Josephine. And I think that Tiffany, our digital editor, dropped the class schedule for Mona Community Center here in the chat. So definitely
Okay.
we'll encourage everyone to check that out. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, friends. Well, we are running ever so slightly off of the schedule that we had originally, been hoping for. But this is just what it means to be kind of casual and just kind of keep it flowing. So Aisha Herring is going to be up next with us. But first we had to show you this other view. Oh, the glare is a little different, but
Yeah, I think the sun changed.
I think it did too. But
Still downtown and
yeah. Downtown, this is out a different window here at Maven Space. And this is a look actually like right down
State
Capitol
House,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, there's the State House right up there where I can never do the point when I'm on.
I know it's always backwards and I'm like that way.
I'm like, it's in this area here. But it's so gorgeous in here. There's been a few other people that have been trickling in. Before Aisha gets on, I think we should do a quick tour.
I actually haven't seen the entire space myself, so I'm excited
Yes.
to like follow along and do it as well.
Well, we have City Mom Sarah, who is mic'd up and ready to go. She's on my phone, so don't be mistaken. I'm not in two places at once, I promise. But Sarah's going to take us around Maven Space. Today's the first day that she's been in here, so which is actually kind of perfect because, oh, you know what? I can change the name on here. Hold on, Sarah. I'm going to change your name. Sarah Parker. Okay, so let's see. Sarah, at the top of Zoom, I can see her. So watch me be all technical. The top of Zoom on the very top left, hit the unmute button. Did that work? Ask to unmute. Here, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can. Yeah. So Sarah, this is her first day being in Maven Space. So she's going to take you guys around for a really mini tour. We don't want to give away all the keys to the kingdom because they open at the very, the beginning of May. There's kind of a mini unveiling scheduled for next week for Indie Maven members. So they have been blessing us by letting us come in early to see the spot.
I'm so excited for this spot.
Oh my gosh.
I am too.
So
this is
Sarah's
amazing, you guys. I'm going to give you the fastest tour ever, and you'll have to come back for the Indie Maven one. And everyone here at City Moms, we are big Indie Maven fans, and this is Maven Space's sister to Indie Maven. So you're going to probably be seeing quite a bit about this here in the future. But I'm going to flip around real quick.
We're going to hop off so you can really give off the good.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So I just want to show you, this is the view that you see when you walk in. And you know, Janine was showing you behind she and Kara that with the Capitol building, and you can see One America here, and you're getting the full downtown Indy vibe. And as Janine will be laughing at me as I say this, but do you see all the parking available? And not only that, the red line is right there. So if you are a red line rider, there's also bikes there that you can use, but definitely really easy to get in. No problems there. I'm going to start by going over here to the right. There's bathrooms throughout. One thing that's super exciting over here that's coming. You can't tell how exciting. Let me like wave. It's got the fancy like, oh geez. Okay, just kidding. In this room, just picture, this is going to be a podcast and video room. So super amazing for people who are social media gurus and need to do your podcasting or whatever. We're also going to have some dual monitors here, so you can just hop in and work when you have a project that requires 2 monitors. And then I just want to show you these desks here. They're going to have stools, but there's also, it's like that perfect height for standing desk when you get the wiggles. And lots of like extra outlet space here. And then something that we are super excited about at CityMoms is this is going to be the mother's room. And the milk bank is actually providing pumping supplies as well. So if you forget anything, you don't need to worry about that. Come over here and you'll see some of the extra semi-private spaces here for working. And hold on, look at these lovely ladies. Have you seen them before? And this very handsome man, that's my husband, everybody. Alex, say hi. Okay, and here's the cafe. So there's going to be a space for coffee and wine. You can rent this space for after hours as well if you have any events. I promise I'm trying to walk fast, guys. I know we're a little behind schedule here. Here is the giant event space. Check this out. Isn't this amazing? I'm a little bit excited, but you knew you were going to get that when I got on here, didn't you? Okay, and then let's walk back to the gym. Yes, you heard that right. There is a gym and plenty of space to get ready, get changed, wind down after your workout. So when you're looking at membership for Maven Space, you actually can just go ahead and cancel that gym membership, because wait until you see how cool this is. Tiffany, yes, it will be. What are you guys most excited about? You have to tell me in the comments. Look how beautiful this gym is. There go the lights. It's plenty of space, everything you could possibly need. All right, and we'll walk back out here. So here's something else that's really exciting as we're coming through here is the kitchen. So there's a full kitchen area. So this literally fits for any space that you could need for any event. You'll see Tenoria, hey, do you see her over there? Well, her book anyway. And there's gonna be food for purchase here from different vendors. And then what's really awesome is there's a lending library here. You'll find fellow city mom Jen Magley's book here. Some really great ones for you to take and return as well. So that is your very quick preview of Maven Space. And I hope you guys will come check it out soon. The only thing missing is a bed, says Ray. Oh, that's awesome. Back to you, Janine and Kira.
Thank you so much.
I do think that you could bring a blow up mattress and just put it right in one of these little cubbies, and then you'd be all set. Sort of under the desk nap.
I saw Ray, I see that you ladies are asking about napping rooms. We literally just mentioned that to Leslie this morning. So just know that the initial request or thought is out there. We were just kind of laughing because some of the rooms that I don't think Sarah had a chance to show you, because they're probably some of even the best. They will have, they're like smaller meditation rooms. It looks like they could work perfectly. They're changing rooms, but they're bigger than that. And they look like they could be like
a meditation room, if they ever have like an esthetician that pops in, you could get a facial there, you could get a massage.
So I maintain massage therapist on staff.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Our husbands need to know it's a workspace.
It's just a workspace.
I'm just here to work.
Yeah. Which is funny because I remember when, let me think, the why my Market District opened in Carmel a few years ago.
Yeah.
They have an in-house like salon.
Yeah.
And you can go get, I can't believe I'm going to give out this tip. You can go in, get a blowout, you can get facials, and it literally shows up on your account as Market District. So you can be like, yeah, I'm going to the grocery. Like, I'm going to go to the grocery and come home looking like this and all rejuvenated. I feel like the same thing here.
Like, why do you go to work so much?
So much. You're there all the time. I know there's so much going on, but this space is so fun for those of you who are going to be here next week for kind of that unveiling. You'll love it even more so in person. So stay tuned for more info from Maven Space and Indie Maven, but you can start following them right now on Instagram, Maven Space. Hopefully Tiffany gets a second to hop up that link, and you can also find their website, which hopefully she'll have a chance to get here too. Okay, we are coming up on 11. And I know that we had originally said this was going to be our wrap time, but don't go anywhere because Aisha is bringing us home, and I can't wait for you to hear what she has to say. We love Aisha. She's talking about carving out space for you, and you definitely need to be following her on social at the Aisha Rose on Insta. She's Strength of She as well. I don't want to delay anymore. Let's get her in here. Hope you're ready for us. Here she comes. Hello, hello.
Hi.
We're so glad you're here. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. And hopefully next time when we actually get to see you in person, it'll be here.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm very connected to Indie Maven as well, so I'm super excited for the space.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, we don't want to delay anymore, and I'm going to go ahead and pull ourselves off screen and let you just take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let me get my screens reoriented here. You joined this and it moves, so I understand what you meant, Elisa. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for sticking around. As she said, I know that we were at time, but I hope that this will be worthwhile for you to join me. And just to introduce myself a bit, my name is Aisha Rose. I am a 31-year-old divorced mom. I'm a creative, an entrepreneur, and I work full-time in corporate America. So as you can imagine, finding time for me doesn't always come so easy, but the journey that I've had to this point has truly taught me to prioritize myself no matter what. And so I hope that you can really relate to my story that I'll share. I truly want, by the end of our time together, for you to determine areas where you can make some change, are ready to create a plan, and that you feel empowered to truly carve out space for you. And so I'm going to share a bit of my story. I was married at 23 years old, and so much of my adult identity really was centered around being a wife and honestly being immersed in starting my career. I also started blogging and founded my first business, The Strength of She, kind of during those early years of my marriage. So writing and working out and cooking were always kind of my getaways. And I truly tried to find balance within that. The balance, though, of those many hats quickly became difficult. And I am not shy. I talk about it on my platform all the time that I have struggled for years, literally since teenage years, with anxiety, with depression, with burnout. And so I had so many triggers in these areas during those early years of marriage that it really became hard to manage. But I was determined, no matter what, to be a mom. I always knew that I was going to be a mom. And I think in the back of my head, I always knew that it was going to be hard for me to get there, but it was worth it. I went through an infertility journey, and it took some years before I was able to have my son, Tristan. And he was born in February of 2018. And I was thinking, I'm about to, like, this is a new chapter in life. This is going to be great times, going to be family times. And I had no idea how much my life was about to change. I literally feel like I blinked and I was holding an infant. I was trying to lose 60 pounds, over 60 pounds, well over, that I gained during my pregnancy. And I realized that my marriage really wasn't on stable ground either. And they talk a lot about, you know, how children really change your marriage dynamics. I can assume that a lot of y'all can relate to that. Feel free to add notes or add some yes girl in the chats, because I am seeing you guys add notes in here. But I looked up and we were not stable. And I knew that it was different. It was different than the uncomfortableness and the change that a lot of people talk about. And so just to kind of fast forward that journey, a year later, I was moving out of our house. And a short 4 months later, I was getting divorced. The divorce was actually final. And so I remember sitting in my new apartment and looking around and thinking, okay, now what? You know, and I'm sure that you all have had some familiar questions like this come up, whether you can relate to what I'm sharing or had a different journey of, who am I? How did I even get here? Am I supposed to be here? What am I doing here? I'm going to read some of these in the chat before I keep going. Yes, 10 years. Oh my gosh, 10 years of infertility treatments. Oh, 2018, babe. Yes, I completely feel you. Yes. Thank you for sharing. I truly appreciate you all sharing these vulnerable things in the chat. And hopefully we can continue those conversations too. But those questions that I started to ask myself, they sparked an internal healing journey for me. And it was truly the birth of my first guided journal I created called the Healing Journal that came out of my divorce journey and trying to get back to who I was. And what I really found during that time was that I had neglected myself for years. I let all those many hats that I was wearing really define me. And the person that I was on the inside was not happy. She wasn't happy. She didn't feel seen. Like, of course, I'm a mom, I was a wife, I'm a creative, and all of these things, but that's not who I am. And I really had to get back to the root of who I was to find happiness, to find joy, to find purpose in a lot of my daily life. And so how did I do that? You know, people see me now and they say, you look so happy, you look so free, you're like living your life. Like, how are you doing this as a mom? And it was really that I had to become shamelessly and unapologetic about my self-care. I truly did. And I had to learn how to carve out space for me. But what does that look like? You know, what does that look like for you? I would love to see some notes in the chat of what does carving out space look like for you? What does shameless self-care look like for you? And if you follow me on Instagram, you know I am no foreigner to massages. I get massages monthly. I get facials regularly. I go get manis and pedis and all the things. I go out with friends. I brunch. Like, those are the things that I do when I have the time, when I have the space, and when I want to care for me in those social ways. But that's not really telling you how I got there, how I've been able to carve that space. So I want to spend the next few minutes really walking you through how I got there. Number one, I had to do something radical. And I hope that you're writing these down. I had to do something radical. Even if I was afraid, for me, it was my divorce. That was truly the most shameless self-care act I've ever done. And by no means did I enter that marriage thinking I was going to get divorced. My parents have been married for over 30 years. I want to be remarried again. Like I love relationships and marriage. But I really had to think about our circumstances, think about the situation we were in, and I chose myself. And I also gave him space to choose himself. And I was brave enough to really close that chapter and then start the next one. And so for you, this could be something similar, or this could be leaving a job. This could be starting that dream business that you wanted. This could be going back to school. Like, how can you do something radical in your life? Number two, I had to return to things that I loved, and I had to find new things. You know, I had to try something different, something new, and not get stagnant. I mentioned that I love to work out. I truly do. And if you Zumba girls out here or dance cardio girls, that is my jam. But with my busy schedule, like there was always an excuse for me not to make it. So I had to literally sit down and map out day to day, what are classes that I would enjoy and love to go to every single day of the week. Not because I had the intention to go every day, but because that way I didn't have an excuse to not make it. So I had an option. I had the ability to go. I didn't, I wasn't looking and saying, oh, I have my son this night. So, oh, well, I guess I'm not working out this week. No, I can go tomorrow. I had to find that time and really make sure that I prioritized it. Number three, I had to incorporate quiet and reflection time. And so whether that is before bed or before the start of my day, it doesn't have to be long. Like people think about this time like, oh, like I need an hour. You don't need an hour. You need 5 minutes. You need 10 minutes. How can I incorporate a few minutes to my day where it is solely for me before the chaos? Before the chaos of the kids running in your room, mom, I'm ready for school. I need breakfast. I need this, before your email starts pinging, just to sit in silence, whether that is to meditate or to journal or to do whatever feels right for you. It could be just to sit there in complete silence. How can you prioritize and find that reflection time just for you? Number 4, I had to learn to ask for help. And anyone who knows me personally knows that that is not something that I do, that I have done. And I think when we wear a lot of hats, or even when we're just moms in general, like we think that we have to wear that cape all the time. And you truly don't. Like you can take the cape off. Like you can pick like, okay, this is something I'm going to tackle for me. This is something that I can do. But then you need to find those areas and those opportunities to say, okay, this is what I can't do by myself. I'm going to call so-and-so and ask them for help. Tiffany and a few others on here, Ray, they all laughed at me over the last couple of weeks as I was preparing to move to my new home. And I truly had to pick that as a place where I said, I know I cannot do this. My anxiety isn't set up for this. My procrastination isn't set up for this. How can I ask some friends over the next couple of weeks, hey, can you come on this day? Can you help me pack on this day? Can you help me take things to Goodwill? Just come, just come and help, so that I was not juggling this move by myself. My family, they don't live in Indianapolis. And so I don't have that network to tap into very regularly. And so having them on hand was so helpful for me as I had a busy work schedule, as I was preparing to be out for vacation. And it felt good for me to say, I asked for help for that. So how can you find areas or find opportunities to ask for help and feel good about it? And last but not least, number 5, I started to ruthlessly advocate for myself. After my son, I had left a previous company that I was with that really didn't support me during a high-risk pregnancy. I was very stressed. It did not help with my pregnancy whatsoever, but I did not have the option to quit. at that time with preparing to give birth to a child. And so I stuck it out. But as soon as I saw an opportunity to leave, I did so. And I tried to find a company that was more flexible, that had more maternity leave, that really was set up for me to be a mom and be a career woman. And so 6 months postpartum, I was starting a new role in a new industry, and I felt empowered to do so. So now I work for a Fortune 500 company, and it can be very demanding. But I love my work, but it still doesn't make it any less demanding. And so and especially since I plan to be in leadership and I've been promoted numerous times, like it just the responsibilities continue to grow. So I have made it very clear with them the restrictions that I put on my schedule. I share very openly that I'm a divorced mom, that I'm a co-parent, that some weeks I only have my son 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 nights within a week. So I'm not going to spend those days working. I'm not going to spend those nights responding to your emails. And so I'm very firm about that. You know, I don't allow them to impede on my outside life or restrict how I can be a mom. And I also schedule my therapy appointments very regularly. I meet with my therapist, whether it's virtually or in person, weekly, and I put them on my work calendar so that they know you cannot overschedule this. I am busy, I am out, I am taking care of me during this time, I will be back. Whether that's on lunch, whether that's at the end of my day, I put it into my day. And I also request support from my ex-husband. We have a great co-parenting relationship. We're still learning the ropes with one another, but we're truly there to support. So if there is an area in my life or a time in my life where I need additional time or I need him to do some pickups, like I advocate and say, hey, I need you to do this, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it disturbs you too, like how can we make this work? So advocating for myself has probably been one of the most important things that I've done. And so there you have it. Those are my quick and dirty 5 ways that I have made the space, made myself have the space for me, is truly by doing something radical, returning to the things that I love, incorporating time to be quiet and reflect, asking for help, and advocating for me. So I truly hope that you all have received that. I hope that they have been beneficial tips to you. And I'm going to look through a few of these messages. Feel free to ask any questions. I think I might be at time, but feel free. I'm just kind of glance through here. Do not disturb his life. Yes, it is. Asking for help. Yep. Yes. And scheduling your phone. Oh my gosh, I have so many notes and reminders in my phone. Yes, I hope that you all have enjoyed this so much. And I know that Tiffany has done a great job with adding some of my journals. You can find, I'll put the link in here. You can find all of my journals and my books right here on my shop page of my site. And I did go ahead and I added an exclusive code just for you all today, in case you're interested in any of those, that you can go and get a discount off an order. So if you just type in the code CityMoms, you're able to get that as well. So I hope that you enjoyed it. And I think that they're back on here to wrap up.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Aisha. That was wonderful.
We're both like, oh, that was so nice.
Yeah. Like, and adding to cart. I feel like there's so many things that we're adding to cart today, I know. After all of these great talks. So I've got books in there, the supplements from Dr. Clara.
I was like, give them all to me, whatever.
Yes. Perfection. Aisha, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate you as absolute always, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. We'll see you guys soon.
Wow. I'm like, my heart is full.
I know. What a great, I feel like a great summit, like so full, like well-rounded, like so much about focusing on ourselves, and I love
necessary.
it. Yeah. So many good reminders about how to take care of ourselves, because like, you know,
Absolutely.
Can't take of anybody else if we're not taking care of ourselves.
Yeah,
So
100%. It's like we said at the very, very beginning, and I can't remember if it was Blessing or Dr. Krebs that said, you know, you can't, it's like it's the face mask theory, you know, when you're in an airplane, like that drops, like you need to put your own on before you can help anyone else. I also walked away with this headband from Sarah.
I was gonna say, I was looking at you because I was like,
I just made off with this. She was like, I don't know if I like this. I was like, I'll try it. I'll try it. Friends, we are so thankful that you joined us today for Sisterhood The Summit. Hope that you got some good things out of this morning. And this is actually something, I don't think it was a friend, hold on. But this is a summit that we host annually, but we are talking about the opportunity to do these more often.
Yeah.
A little bit more specialized, perhaps. You know, this is obviously kind of that annual look at motherhood and how we can help just fill you for those months ahead. But if you have suggestions for us on what you would like to see future summits look like, topics that you're interested in, drop those into the chat now. Let us know, or feel free to hit us up on Instagram, DM us.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you don't feel comfortable dropping the topic into the chat, definitely DM us, and you know, we'll keep that private. But I don't think any topic is off limits. Whatever is important to you is what's important to us.
Absolutely. So I don't want to wrap up. I'm just feeling so like,
I know.
But well, friends, thank you again so much for joining us this morning. For those of you who are watching this with us live, the link for this recording will be shared with you in a day or so. Maybe just give us a little time to kind of decompress and take all this wonderful information in. But we will get this out to you. We get this out to you with the workbook once again, and share some of those presentations too.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Krebs and Alyssa had a really great one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to print those out and just like I'm like a physical paper kind of person. So it's like print it out, make the notes, circle. And so I think that it'll be great for us all to have those resources on hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm seeing a bunch of comments kind of pop through here. When is our brunch with Blessing happening? I mean, Alyssa, we will definitely try to make that happen.
Bring her down here.
Yeah.
We need to have her physical presence around us.
Yeah, she's so magical. I just kind of want to soak that up.
I know.
You know, before we go though, I definitely want to make sure that we kind of do a quick wrap up with our title sponsor, which is FreedomDoc. You know, FreedomDoc, I know we mentioned this kind of at the beginning of the summit, a membership healthcare community for all patients, all health plans. We're so blessed to have Dr. Krebs here today, who is a FreedomDoc physician. Sarah, do you want to pop in, kind of maybe give us like a quick, I know, what should we do?
There's plenty of room over on my lap.
I mean, today's about community, right? So you guys may have seen me and I'm sure you have on City Moms, because I kind of follow Janine around, but I also daylight as a business manager for Freedom HealthWorks, which is a FreedomDoc company. And so if you guys loved what you heard from Dr. Krebs today, which it sounds like everyone is just dying and fangirling over her like we are, she's actually affiliated with FreedomDoc, and you don't have to go all the way to Hawaii, although you probably want to.
We want to stay in her guest house.
Yeah, I know. I really want to stay in her guest house. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way to make that work related. But we do actually have FreedomDocs all around the Indianapolis area. We're a national company. You can go to freedomdoc.care and you can learn more about doctors near you that have that same focus on your whole health and really developing that relationship-based care again, and kind of bringing back, I like to say, traditional medicine with a little technology added in there. So, and of course, feel free to reach out to me on social. You can find me at Sarah Jessica Harker, and I can help direct you more on that. So super thankful for FreedomDoc sponsoring today. This was an amazing event. As always, City Moms does such a great job. We're so thankful.
Well, we love you, and we're so grateful to everyone for being here today. So everyone have an incredible rest of your Friday, and hope that this gives you kind of all of that energy that you need to get into the weekend. And we will see you again very, very soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.